Yu-Gi-Oh! First came out, it was primarily a game of a duel between boss monsters. That is not so much as true nowadays, as combos and stuns are usually more favorable than relying on a single monster to win you games. Especially when cards like Winged Dragon Raw Spear, Sphere Mode, and Kaijus exist. However, as the new Lair of Darkness structure deck got released, I found it fitting to make a list of the best boss monsters to ever come out of a structure deck. For this list, I will only be looking at boss monsters who first came within a structure deck. Thus, archetype boss monsters like Apple Cleaford Towers, Spiral Double Helix, or Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon will not be included. However, the boss monster does not necessarily have to be the cover card for the structure deck, as there have been cases where the secondary boss monsters of a structure deck was able to outshine the cover card. The boss monster can be both main deck and extra deck, but must be something that was first released in the structure deck and cannot be a structure deck reprint. So without further ado, let's begin. At number 10, we have Fire King High Avatar Garunix. At 2700 attack, it can run over just about anything your opponent throws at you. Thus, your opponent would think to just get rid of it via card effects, right? Wrong. The last thing you want to do with Fire King High Avatar Garunix is to destroy it by a card effect. When Garunix is destroyed by a card effect, it revives itself during the next standby phase for free. But there's more. When it's summoned this way, it gives your opponent a board wipe, leaving them open to a direct attack. Even if your opponent somehow managed to put out an even stronger monster to run over your Garunix by sheer brute force, when it's destroyed by battle, it will automatically replace itself by summoning another Fire King monster from the deck. So why is it only at the number 10 spot? Well, aside from having great effects on the field and in the graveyard, Fire King High Avatar Garunix lacks an inherent summoning ability. Hence, if you're stuck with multiple copies in hand, it can brick really hard. But once you get the loop with the Garunix going, your opponent is essentially playing under a free ride Geki every single turn. At number 9, we have Machina Fortress. Despite having 200 less attack points than Garunix, Machina Fortress makes up for it with a built-in summoning mechanic. It can special summon itself from both the hand and graveyard, and thus can use itself to pay for its own summoning cost. What's more is that if it's destroyed by battle, you get to pop a card your opponent controls, and if your opponent ever tries to target Machina Fortress with a card effect, you can look at your opponent's hand and discard one of their cards. This is good because not only do you get to see what options your opponent has, but it allows you to make short work of their strategy before they even have a chance to use it. When the structure deck Machina Mayhem first got released, it didn't take too long before they ended up winning a YCS event. So yeah, Machina Fortress must be on this list. At number 8, we have Master Hyperion. When you think of what makes a good boss monster, you probably want good stats, an easy summoning condition that does not take too much setup or too much resources, and a good field effect. Master Hyperion has all three. At 2700 attack, it is stronger than Machina Fortress and as strong as Fire King High Avatar Garunix. It is an easy summon, as all you need to do is banish one agent monster from your hand or graveyard. But the best part of the card effect is its field effect. By banishing one fairy-type monster from the graveyard, Master Hyperion can destroy any card on the field. This effect is eerily similar to that of Dark Arm Dragon, which to this day is still limited to 1 on the Forbidden Limited list. While Master Hyperion's effect is soft once per turn, it can become a soft twice per turn if their field spell is on the field, making it 2/3 as good as Dark Arm Dragon. The reason why this card is ranked above Garunix is mainly because of its ability to destroy spell trap cards as well as monsters. While Garunix can only destroy your opponent's monsters, Hyperion can get rid of a face-down Mirror Force and Dimensional Prison, so your other monsters can attack more safely. When the Agent deck was released, it immediately won a World Championship in 2011, hence showing the speed and consistency of the deck. At number 7, we have the notorious and infamous Brava Dragon Lord of Dark World. As the Dark World mechanic is based on discarding monsters via card effects, Grapha definitely fits well with this theme. When it's discarded, you can immediately destroy a card your opponent controls. But what makes it even more annoying to deal with than Master Hyperion is its summoning mechanic. By returning one Dark World monster from your side of the field to your hand, you can special summon Grapha from your graveyard. That's right, Grapha is essentially a free revival every single turn at the cost of a normal summon. And since the Dark World monster returns to your hand, it automatically sets you up to summon Grapha again next turn if it's destroyed again. This isn't even mentioning that Grapha has 2,700 attack, which can go up to 3,000 under their field spell. When the Gates of the Underworld deck was released, Dark Worlds immediately won first place at a YCS event in a format dominated by the Wind Up Hand Loop, Inzektor Field Destruction Loop, Dino Rabbit Lockdowns, and Shock Lock OTK combos. Clearly all thanks to the power of their new boss monster. Luckily, Dark Worlds are not the most consistent deck, as they can occasionally open up with a hand of all monsters but no spell cards to discard them, or a hand of all spell or trap cards but no monsters to discard. At number 6, we have Michael the Archlight Sword. As strong as Light Swords were, the one thing they lacked at the time was a good extra deck boss monster. The Realm of Light structure deck solved that by giving Light Swords a synchro monster in Michael. It has an effect that lets you banish any card your opponent controls, and when it dies, it can recycle your Light Sword monsters in your graveyard back into the deck and replenish your life points at the same time. Banishing is always preferable to destroying, and this effect lets you bypass anti-destruction abilities. At number 5, we have ABC Dragon Buster. Where to start? This guy has a whopping 3,000 attack body and 2 quick effects. The first allows you to banish a card on the field during either player's turn. So now not only does it bypass the anti-destruction abilities, but it can also be used to disrupt your opponent. The second effect allows you to special summon back the 3 ABC pieces, setting you up for another Dragon Buster next turn, while also giving you 3 monsters to guard your life points instead of just 1. This is good because not only does it potentially stop OTKs, but it can also dodge your opponent's targeting effects such as Atlantean Heavy Infantry, Fire Fist Bear, Diamond Direwolf, Phantom Knights of Breaksword, etc. Furthermore, the summoned back ABC pieces can then be used as link material for a link summon and then be banished again for another Dragon Buster. As ABCs are the spiritual successors to the XYZ archetype, you would expect that summoning Dragon Buster takes a lot of work, but it's actually pretty easy. By banishing your ABC pieces from your hand, from your field or graveyard, you can summon this guy out of your extra deck. So his inherent summoning condition is effectively a +1. At number 4, we have Arabist, the Underworld Monarch, and Ether, the Heavenly Monarch. I know I'm kind of cheating with this one, as these two are 2 separate monsters that came out of the Monarch structure deck, but the way the new Monarch deck was designed made it seem like these 2 monsters were meant to complement each other. Arabist offers non-targeting and non-destruction removal, while Ether can summon a monster out of the... Ether can summon Vanity's Fiend out of your main deck when it's tributed summoned, and it can be tribute summoned during either player's turn. As Monarchs is one of those decks that don't special summon that much or rely on their extra deck, it can also be highly effective when it comes to stunning your opponent and stopping them from essentially playing the game. So when it comes to this, these 2 cards are definitely among the best. At number 3, we have Masked Hero Darklaw. Ironically, Darklaw isn't even the cover card for the Hero Strike structure deck, but is still by far the best boss monster in there. All competitive players know how annoying it is to when their opponent flips a Macrocosmos or Dimensional Fissure on them. Masked Hero Darklaw does the exact same thing, only is completely one-sided and only applies for the opponent. The controller of Darklaw can still use their own graveyard normally, while their opponent is forced to stare down a 2,400 attack Macrocosmos. What's worse is that when your opponent tries to add a card from their deck to their hand, Darklaw automatically banishes 1 random card from their hand. This makes their +1s into 1-for-1s, and their 1-for-1s into -1s. Many Floodgate cards end up getting hit by the ban list in Yu-Gi-Oh! But Masked Hero Darklaw is hands down the best Floodgate boss monster. At number 2, we have the newly released Darkest Diablos Lord of the Lair. When we look at strong monsters, we often compare them to other monsters that we have seen before, and this card is definitely similar to 2 cards we previously discussed on this list. It's similar to Grapha, as both of them are dark, level 8, have high attack, and have an effect that lets them special summon themselves from the graveyard. But it's also similar to Monarchs, as its effects revolve around tributing. What separates Diablos from Grapha and Monarchs is that even though it's a completely expendable boss monster, it also has built-in protection from both targeting and kaijus. Its other on-field effect lets you tribute a monster to put a card from your opponent's hand back into the deck. Hand disruption effects are always nice as they force your opponent to play with fewer resources. Before we get to our number 1, I want to give an honorable mention to Cyber Dragon Nova. It was definitely a good card, but the thing you can do with it felt really limited. It almost felt like a card that can only be used exclusively for OTKs. However, the release of Cyber Dragon Infinity reduced Nova to merely a stepping stone, as the deck became more of a control-based deck. Now, finally, to our number 1. At number 1, we have, obviously, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Is this really a surprise? Let's see, 3,500 attack makes it stronger than any other boss monster on this list. It has a quick effect that can be used for making OTKs or for disrupting your opponent's plays, and it can attack all monsters your opponent controls. If it attacks a defense position monster, it can send the monster to the graveyard without destroying it, and burn the opponent for 1,000 damage. This allows it to easily get past anti-destruction effects, as well as monsters that cannot be destroyed by battle. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno has a more broken effect than many monsters that are currently limited to 1 on the ban list. On top of that, it can easily be summoned by banishing just 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard, and is also a target for double evolution pill. And the best part, none of its effects are hard ones per turns. So this is my list of the top 10 best structure deck boss monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Please let me know what you think. Do you agree with the list? Is there any boss monster you feel I should have included? Please leave your comments below, and thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more interesting content.